So let's imagine you're in a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And, but like like at a table because,
And
we're all
I'm in
in
like
virtual
my
meetings.
own meeting, not I'm not coaching someone.
No, no, no. You're in your own meeting.
Okay.
Like, yeah, perfect. Good nuance. So you're in your own meeting. It's face-to-face meeting. And there's Betsy Leatherman being all sort of brilliant and doing her job. And there's a knock at the door, and in walks your leadership genius.
Oh gosh.
And that leadership genius is wearing a name tag. What do you think the name tag says?
That is such a good question. Um, I think it says energy, love, growth, and help or
It's your
assistance.
genius.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
get it. I get it.
True.
You
Yeah.
get to decide.
Yeah. And
That's not my
also,
genius, let me
it's
tell
not
you.
my okay,
Yeah.
got it.
It's
Okay,
clearly Betsy's genius.
yeah,
That makes sense. That resonates. Yeah.
I would also say so there's something that I do that is like very practical and pragmatic,
Yeah.
but then also not at all.
Mm.
So, an example, we were having this session, it was going to be on a mountain, the road washed out. The team was like, "Oh my gosh, we have to find a new venue." And I was like, "Or just get helicopters." Like I don't understand the challenge here. Get helicopters and we'll just helicopter everybody in. And they're like, "Well, what if people are afraid of flying?" I'm like, "Get horses." I don't know. Like it's so easy because it's you've got to solve a problem and I don't care how big it is that you solve it because the goal is to get people to the session. That thing is I think
Yeah.
that's part of what I bring.
It's interesting because my experience of you in those kinds of meetings is absent that leadership genius, you can you can go like no one can go into the details
Mm.
like you can. Like you can go very, very micro into the details. You can also go super, super macro
Mm.
into like, what if the whole business was about, and sort of this, I don't know, there's something in that genius that kind of reconciles those two that
Yeah.
actually it's both are needed at the same time. The
Yeah.
sort of totally impractical, Betsy, what are you even on right now?
Yeah,
We're not going
exactly.
to get
We're
helicopters.
not getting
Uh,
helicopters.
and
I'm like, "Yeah, we
and
are."
like, but yeah, but something will come. And if it's not that, then someone has a Jeep, and we'll figure out how to get
Totally.
everyone up there. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and
that's
I
so
understand
true.
what you're saying because then I actually did say in the helicopter meeting, which has gone down as in the books, I'm like, "We could even get, like, magnetic signs on the side of the helicopter with our logo. Like, wouldn't that be great?" It's like
And you've got a marketing thing. You could
I
write
could
it
run a
off.
full marketing campaign with it. Um, but my dad used to tell me when I was growing up, whenever you hit the end of the road, like whenever you hit the dead end, it's not actually a dead end. There's three magical doors, so look up because you're about to be absolutely amazed by what's going to come next. So it's
Mm,
very fun and easy for me to be like, oh, helicopters, jeeps, horses, right? Because even if any of those are definitely not right, any of those are just something that opens someone up. That's all it's about, and so that's why it's super fun. It's also super
or even
fun.
that you look. I mean, so I cannot tell you how much. So I remember you shared that with me years ago, and how often your dad's story comes into my head because there is that sort of. What I love about it is it's not sort of cliche like, oh, you get to the end of the road and there'll be it'll be fine, or it's like you get stuck, and somewhere there are three magic doors, but they're hidden. It's like, but you don't know where they are, but there's
You
always
better
three.
look.
Right, there's always three. And so it gets you curious, and you're like, I cannot tell you the number of times that voice has come in and been like, okay, where's the magic door? I really don't see any. And
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
start looking around and you're like, well, helicopters. That's one. It might not be the one we walk through, but that's definitely a
That's
door.
definitely a
Yeah,
possibility.
yeah. And it's been such great advice. So you please extend my thanks. He's gotten me unstuck more than a few times.
I will. And I have to tell you, you and I were talking about this concept of can you see your own leadership genius? And you had said, I think it's really hard for people to do that. It is. That was a really hard question because I had not prepared for it at all.
Yeah, I
So,
knew I just kind of asked it out of I was just curious what you'd come up with, but it was actually a
yeah,
really good answer.
that's really hard though. That's very interesting. And I've been thinking about it a lot. And so I'm like putting myself in our clients' shoes of they hadn't necessarily thought about that. How do you do that? And one of the ways we talked about was a pairing. and a little anthropological work. But before we go there, I have to ask you same question. So
Oh God,
your
that's what I was
leadership
afraid of.
genius, I know you didn't want me to do it, but I have to. So
No, no, this is not good for my high distance. I should have probably expected this and already worked up
and
an
thought
answer, but
through it. Yeah.
I was listening about this. So three doors, three doors. Um, mine would probably say, help me stay in the room.
Mm,
Like there's like that's what would be written. Like that's like instructions for use. Like if this is helpful, you're going to have to help it stay in because its instinct is going to be to leave, or to drop a little something and then leave. And so I always, in fact, that meeting that you mentioned yesterday, um, Karen, who's a colleague of ours, I think I sent her a text, or we might have been talking, and I said, "Do you think I should go to the meeting?" And she knows me well enough to not be like, "Oh, you definitely need to go," because then I definitely wouldn't go. But she was like, "Yeah, no, I think you really should, and I think your perspective is going to be helpful, and I think Betsy could use that." Like that's all I needed to hear was like
yeah.
Betsy could use some
Somebody
help,
needs
and I'm
you.
like, "Okay, I'm
Betsy
there,"
needs you.
So there is something about like, yeah, that would be kind of the instruction for use. Help if this is helpful, help it stay because it
Yeah.
it still wants to run. And I don't necessarily want to, but it's just sometimes those old scripts, they come back in 57 years old and we're still playing.
Yeah. Still playing the
It's
scripts.
still running.
But
Yeah.
okay, I would add some things to your genius. And I think I don't, and I'm sure your clients get this too, but as your coworkers, like your teammate, your humor and making light in very serious situations and holding things lightly and making things lightly, but also then being very serious at the same time is such a relief to me and just also just is fun. It's just really
Mm-hmm.
fun. Like I
Oh, thank
will
you.
have an experience some days, like even in Barcelona when I was like not doing any work, I was like, oh, I totally need to text this to Paul right now. He would die. He would
I
laugh
know.
so hard. So like just
Yeah.
your
Oh,
ability to,
that's very, very nice to hear. Yeah. Thank you very
yeah,
much.
I think
Yeah.
that's very cool. And
Yeah.
then there's something very um inspirational about your deep passion and commitment to the field. Like deeply passionate, deeply committed, but also and maybe your distance thing allows you to hold it lightly. Maybe
There might
there's
be.
something in that allows you to be like this incredible contributor, which I know you hate when I even say, but like incredible thought leader, but also be like totally fine in a moment or be able to talk about a hotel buffet or lack thereof,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah. We won't go there.
But but yeah, there's something about that as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's always nice to hear.